Greetings everyone, One with an Organ here, and today I'm really excited to start my new challenge run series featuring Dark Souls, my favorite game of all time. Now, like I said, it's a challenge run, but that doesn't mean it'll only be interesting for people who have played this game before. I'm actually going to try to make it fun for new time players as well. So I'm going to be called 3 Much Die because I expect to be dying more than even too much. So I'm clever like that, of course. So in case you're wondering, how are you going to make it interesting for first timers? Well, I'm going to try to bring a lot of focus to the game's story, which is quite great, even though the game doesn't spoon feed it to you. So for experienced players, I'm not going to be grabbing the master key, and I'll get into that when I get into the parameters of the challenge run. So I'm going to go with Black Firebomb. And all of this is just preference now. Thankfully, most character models look like crap, so it's not very hard to decide on something. Anyway, really quick, the parameters of the challenge run. First thing, no shield, ever. Second thing, light armor only. I am not allowed to use medium or heavy armor, and since the game doesn't define that for you, I'll be doing that myself. That armor you see there, not allowed. It has plates, and the weight is what I would consider medium, so I won't be using it. And to make it a little more challenging, no armor upgrade, so even that light armor can't be upgraded whatsoever. Weapons, only ultra heavies allowed. That means no greatsword or regular great axes. It has to be an ultra greatsword or the equivalent in weight and slowness of an ultra great hammer or a great axe. So that should make it a little bit harder for a low armored, no shield character to deal with really slow weapons. And no offensive magic of any kind, including pyromancy, and let's say no kindling. I hope that's everything. I don't know if I forgot anything, but I'll talk about it more later. Anyway, let's get right into it. I will be letting the cutscene play in case any first-time people to Dark Souls want to watch it. Otherwise, feel free to skip it. And I will be talking about the storyline behind things. So let's get right into it. I'm going to shut up for the cutscene.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arched trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone skills. The witches weaved great firestorms, soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Okay, you've got to admit that cutscene was beautiful. It was great. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into it, because in a few seconds the announcer lady is going to start talking again, and I'm going to let her talk. It'll be brief this time, though, I promise. She won't be talking for too long. Here we go.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
So that's our character. Not the rat. We're not a rat. So look at those bugs running by the wall. And they're not there anymore. Oh wait, never mind, I see one. They're just really flat. They're models. They made them two-dimensional. So we're pretty and use a lot of skin products, as you can tell. Good Neutrogena advertisement. And some armored guy dropped a corpse with... We don't know what that is yet, right? Well, some viewers may know. Those glowy things are items. So, first things first. I'm going to go into my menu, and like I said, I'm calling this heavy armor. I mean, medium armor, sorry. Not allowed. And this is not an ultra heavy weapon, so not allowed. And we're going to pick this up, which is a dungeon cell key. So, before I talk about anything else, I want to mention that at the beginning of every episode, I'm going to be not only defining or trying to kind of estimating a goal for the episode, but I'm also going to be doing a brief recap of what happened the previous episode. So, for this episode, the goal is pretty simple. It's just to get out of this tutorial area to the main area of the game. And it'll actually be very brief. The cutscene and the whole intro takes a good bit of time, so it'll be a short episode, hopefully short and sweet. Anyway, in case you're not familiar, bonfires act as checkpoints. You go back to the last rested bonfire if and when you die. More like when you die. And there's more things you can do with them, but I'll talk about that later. Anyway, and here we're gonna fight a boss that normally you wouldn't fight just yet. There he is. Alright. So this is where we're using our starting gift. And nope, you're not gonna hit me with that. Ooh, oh, messed up my timing. Oh, yeah. Alright, you're dead. So normally when you go in, you don't have your starting weapon, and I don't have my starting weapon, but that was kind of the point of getting those black fire bombs as a starting gift. Normally you just run away and run in here. So let's do that anyway. Now, most experienced people with this game would tell you that the master key is the best thing to get early on. The only reason that I got the black firebomb is because, ooh, being shot at. No starting weapon is an ultra heavy weapon, so I'm technically not allowed to use any starting weapon of the game. And check out how weak I am with my fist. That's a backstab. It's supposed to be immensely strong, and I did a total of like 5 damage. And Let's see if we can see his health bar. Yeah, it's like full. So we're gonna leave him alone. But yeah, that's the kind of idea there. So that's a little trap. But of course I know about it. This just is a shortcut to the first bonfire, so we're not gonna worry about that. And that broke a little wall. This actually looks like the guy that left us that corpse, and he looks injured. One thing to note about this playthrough, I'm gonna let the dialogue play out because I think the voice acting is amazing. And pay attention to what he says, it's actually relevant.
Oh, you're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I are both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Of course I'll hear you out, undead buddy.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the Undead Asylum, maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringest the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
Estus flask is actually the
Oh, and this.
main healing item of the game.
I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
So yeah, you actually, it recharges when you go to bonfires and rest at them, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Well, not self-explanatory, but pretty simple. So, oh, you may have noticed when I killed the boss, I got this weapon here. And if you look at it, weapon type Great Hammer, it is an Ultra in terms of being like the heaviest variant. But, let me pull it up again. I don't know why I exited. It's actually... It requires 46 strength to wield, and right now I started out with 13. So, not able to use that, even though it's allowed by the challenge run parameters. So that's why I'm not bothering with a weapon that I got. Oh, oh, you want to pull that on me, huh? Well, now you're dead. Alright. We have a bow guy here. And I don't have a shield, so I have to just sidestep and stuff to avoid getting hit by arrows. And this guy, I think if I hit a shield directly, I'm going to waste my firebomb. But thankfully, he started attacking the air, and we get to move on. Normally, this is where you go through a fog gate, drop off, do like a plunging attack with your weapon on the boss, and then fight the boss with your starting weapon. Which for me is the longsword, but we're not doing that. At any rate, if you listen to the armored guy that dropped us the corpse and everything and gave us the Estus flask, he talked about a saying in his family about a chosen undead that is supposed to leave the Undead Asylum, and he mentioned the ringing of a bell of awakening and that it would reveal the fate of the chosen undead. Let me shut up for a minute here.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the Undead Asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
So there we go. We found out pretty much the same thing that the guy's family said, that there's a chosen undead supposed to leave the Undead Asylum, go to the land of lords, which we just learned is named Lordran, and presumably we have to find out something about some Bell of Awakening, right? So anyway, I will be doing a little more story recap. Yes, there's a little bit more than you know during, or than it seems, during episode 2. So, for now, we've reached the main area of the game, Lordran, the Land of Lords, and it is time to call this episode. During the next episode, we're actually going to be focusing on acquiring our main playthrough weapon. So, hopefully that goes pretty well. There might be some deaths here and there. For now, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I realize it's kind of slow and there wasn't much to it, but all the intro stuff took some time out of it. I hope you enjoyed this. Please join me for episode 2. If you liked this, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, let me know what I can do to make it better. And I will now make a brief little general announcement about my channel. So if you don't care about that, that's okay. My Ninja Gaiden series is currently temporarily suspended. I will resume it sooner or later. I just noticed that the views and everything were decreasing quite a bit, and it's already the least popular of my content. So I just thought I'd take a little break up from it, try something new, and if anybody out there is actually watching it and enjoying it, just let me know. Even if a couple people, since I'm a small channel, are keeping up with it and enjoying it, I'll gladly continue it as soon as possible. But otherwise, I'll be working on this Dark Souls, and I'll be trying to upload a lot more Smash Bros. Content, as well as Rivals of Aether. But for now, thanks again for joining. Join me again on the next episode, and farewell.